In the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night, in the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night. Hello everyone, I'm Anthropomanic Fiend. I do horror-related things on the internet, and I still can't think of a more creative intro than that. I just watched the final movie in the box set of 30 Nightmare movies. I'm going to be going back and doing the ones I didn't get to before, which I'm really looking forward to and also dreading, because there's some masterpieces and there's some garbage that I never want to watch again. So with that out of the way, I just watched the last movie in the box set, and talk about ending on a high note. I just watched Salvage, and it's really, really good. I'm going to say that right now, and I'm going to just say right out the gate that, well, yes, I do want you to watch my review. I want you to watch this movie more. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to get into spoilers. I would like you to turn this off before spoilers and go watch the movie, but frankly, I would just like you to just go watch the movie now. It's that good. So before I get to the stuff I really want to talk about, the music is good. Actually, before I get to the music, because there's things pertaining to the music that relate to the story, I'm going to give you the basic premise. And there is a minor spoiler in there, but it's like one of the first things that happens in the movie, so it's not that much of a spoiler. Pretty much, this movie is a girl, I'm forgetting her name, I always forget these characters' names, but no matter, works at like a gas station cash register, and she's going home, and this creepy guy drives up in her boyfriend's truck saying he's a friend, and he's already kind of unnerving, and as they drive home, things start to get progressively creepier, and then she goes back inside, and the guy comes up to her door and knocks on it, and he's peeking through the glass of the door, and you can see sort of his eye distorted and reflected through it, and it's nice and creepy, and he's just like, "You forgot your earring." She refuses to go out the door to get it. She ends up putting like the chain on the door and opening it and just reaching out through the door and grabbing it. And then she turns around and she finds the back door is open. And long story short, guy gets into her house, drags her into the basement, and kills her. And then she wakes up back at the cash register. And it's a dream. I can't really say all that much more, except that throughout the movie, she keeps getting haunted by these visions of the guy and reliving the horror of that murder again and again. And she can't really tell when she's dreaming and when she's awake, and it's all very surreal and very creepy. Music is, for the most part, standard, creepy, synthesized string horror music that you'll find in most low-budget horror movies, but it's well synchronized to the movie and helps add to the atmosphere. There's also quite a few hard rock songs incorporated into the movie, while a lot of times it's just kind of used as background music or just to like plug an underground band in your movie, but they actually sync it up really well with the scenes in the movie in this. There's like a start and stop guitar riff in one song that syncs up perfectly with a moment in one of the final scenes in the movie where someone's screaming. The screams are right in between the big riffs, and I just thought that was cool. And then the killer guy, whose name is Duke Desmond, his thing is to play country music in his truck while he's dragging the main character along with him. And it's kind of funny, but also kind of obnoxious, because it's just kind of reinforcing the whole creepy redneck stereotype in horror movies, but whatever. So that's the music. Camera work is obviously lower budget, but very artistically done. Reminded me a lot of Halloween, with a lot of the creepy point of view shots and never knowing where Duke is. He could sort of be lurking in any shot, really. Acting's not the greatest, but it was fairly convincing. I think it was just more some of the the cheesiness of the dialogue and the script that made some of the acting bad, but the acting is pretty good. And when the characters are scared, they seem genuinely scared. The screaming in this movie, as weird as it may sound, good screaming in this movie, but yeah, you could feel the pain and the fear, which is of course good in a horror movie. The effects in this movie are fantastic. There are particular scenes where our main character is down in the basement and looking for somebody, and she flicks the light on because she's just sort of fumbling around in the dark looking for somebody. Then she flips the light on, and as the light is flashing, you sort of see this pale white face flash with the bulb as the lights come on, and I had to sort of go back and check to see if that was actually there. It almost reminded me of one of the scenes in Sleepy Hollow where when the Headless Horseman is coming, the fire in the room flares up, and just for a split second you can see these demonic faces in the fire, and it's just sort of a blink and you'll miss it thing. This wasn't nearly as subtle as that was, but I did actually rewind in the movie just to make sure I didn't miss it, because I was looking down at my notes a little bit at the moment, and then I was just like, wait, was that a face? So I ran it back, and yes, there was a face there. And you see the face in different forms throughout the movie. Sometimes it comes out of a door behind the main character for a moment, and there's just all sorts of little subtle, creepy things. Probably my favorite is when she's in the library and Duke comes up behind her, and he's blurred out behind her so you don't really see anything of him, but you can see his jaw dropping way past where it's supposed to, just this big black gaping hole of a mouth opening, and it's all blurred out. It's just a really cool effect. The other really cool effect is after she gets out of the shower, she goes up to her mirror. Blurred out behind the mirror, you can see what should be Duke's face, and she wipes it, and it's her face. And oh my gosh, I just had a realization. We'll get to that in the spoilers, but if you watch this movie, you'll know what I'm saying. You've got those kinds of creepy subtle effects, and then you've got the gore effects, which are there aren't a lot of them. They definitely are using their gore fairly sparingly, but what they do have is good. There's a scene in the gas station where Duke has the girl down on the counter, and she presses her fingers into his eyes, and blood starts gushing out, and that's a fairly common thing in a good deal of movies, but I just wasn't expecting it, and it was just like, ooh, the eyes, it was disgusting, but it was perfect. And then there's a scene where Duke drags her down into the basement again, and he's got his little carver and cuts around her face and starts to peel it off, and you don't see everything that's happening. You see the knife, and you see her screaming as the face is getting pulled off, and you hear it, and it's gnarly. And then you see the removed face from her point of view a little bit later, but it's pretty cool. Before I get into spoilers, I'll just say the reason this movie is called Salvage is because the character of Duke worked in a salvage yard. This movie is amazing. I sort of had some sense of what was happening in the movie until some little twists and turns toward the end start happening, and then it's just, oh, I didn't know what was happening at all. This movie has one of the most brilliant twists I've seen in a movie for a while, and it throws a few little curveballs at you. Once you think you know what's happening, until the very end, you don't have a clue. I love this movie. Just turn this off, go watch it. I don't care. Watch this movie. I love this movie. I didn't say what year this came out, but I'm assuming it was 2000s or 2010s. It has that look to it. Good movie. Watch it. And without further ado, spoilers. So yeah, we find out that Duke is a real person, not just a creepy guy she's been seeing in her nightmares. He was an actual murderer who got shot and killed. For one thing, finally a good ghost movie in this box set. I'm gonna get to some of the crappy ones when I circle back around, but I was just waiting for a nice, just a good spooky, supernatural, eerie type of movie in this box set, because that's my favorite stuff. I like dark fantasy, I like gothic stuff, I like haunting supernatural things, and this has that plus sort of a slasher thing within that. So it's just really the best of both worlds. Duke's a ghost, and you're sort of feeling a little bit of a Nightmare on Elm Street thing with sort of the dream thing, and a little bit of a life is repeating, Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day, what have you thing going on as well. Oh, I forgot to mention one of my favorite lines that Duke says, which is, "The only thing that's real in this world is what you feel when I cut your head off." I don't know, that line just stood out to me, so I wrote it down. The other thing I wrote down was that at the very end of the movie, because that's how good the twist was. So, first twist is that he's a ghost. The next twist is that we find out that our leading lady is already dead, which sort of feels very Sixth Sense-y, but then you're just like, wait, that makes absolutely no sense, because she's been talking to everybody around her, so if she's a ghost, what's happening? We've sort of seen flashbacks to Duke and the murder he committed, the murder being that of our leading lady, and him, before he gets shot by the police, sort of saying that there's like something in my head telling me to do things. It wasn't me, which sort of in some ways explains sort of the demon thing that we've been seeing as he hunts her. That kind of goes out the window with the final twist, but I'm not complaining, because oh my god, the final twist explains so much, and it's brilliant, and I love it. One other thing, the girl actually finds her skull in the ground by the house with her earring in it, and I thought that was cool, because you see the earring that they've set up at the beginning, and it's well done, and I love it, but the final twist is so freaking good. She runs back to her house, and she hears her mom screaming in the basement. This is what I was talking about with the guitar riff. It's her going down into the basement and sort of the screams in between the riffs, and I'm gonna say, this movie didn't scare me, but I was way invested in the plot. And there were some tense moments and some brutal moments that made me flinch, so yes, good. She's going down into the basement, and her mom is turned away from her. She doesn't seem to be in any trouble, and she turns her around. I was half expecting like an end of Psycho situation where her mom's face is a skull, but no, it's just her mom, and she's just like, pretty much what we get to is her saying, "Don't call me mother, I'm not your mother." Duke is in the house, and she's just like, "You're gonna have to relive what you did." And she's just like, what am I talking about? Or no, what are you talking about? And the big reveal is our main character is actually the soul of Duke Desmond, imprisoned in this girl's body and forced to relive his crime from her perspective for eternity. That explains the mirror bit at the beginning. I thought it was just a creepy ghost thing, but no, that's her genuine reflection, and I just love that so much. It's such a cool twist, and not what I was expecting at all. And you just sort of hear her voice morphing gradually into Duke's, and then she turns into Duke at the very end, and I don't know how you came up with that. That's really, I just love that ending so much. What else can I say? It's a very cool, unexpected ending, because it's set up as a slasher, it turns into a ghost movie, into a demon movie, and then by the end of the movie you just realize that you're in hell and your main character is the killer. Fantastic movie. I've spoiled it for you already if you've kept watching, but watch this movie anyway, because it's just a really well-made movie. It's probably better if I haven't spoiled it for you, but just go watch it. I love this movie. It's called Salvage. You can find it in this box set of movies. You can probably find it other places too. I've seen better, but I've seen far worse. And this is up there with the few movies that really got me into what they were doing in this box set. So that's Salvage. I hope you enjoyed my review. I hope you actually went and watched this movie before I spoiled it for you. But I appreciate it if you stuck around anyway and let me spoil it for you too. So thank you for watching. Regardless, videos are going to slow down for a little while for reasons, but hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.